So I'm going to show how to make a sort of like a boulder like this really easily. So we're going to start off with a dynamic sphere. And then we are going to use the clip curve tool, which will let us cut slices out of this sphere. We also want to turn off symmetry. So if you hit Control and Shift, you can get this sort of line, and if you let go, it'll cut the sphere. So you're just going to want to cut up the sphere randomly until there are no more curved areas. Doesn't matter how you do it. It looks better if you just cut it up randomly. So just cut it up until there's no more round parts. You could do pretty deep cuts if you would like. It's up to you. But I'm just going in randomly, cutting up different areas. And should be good. So no more round bits. You can sort of cut it up some more if you see areas that look a little weird. But I think that's pretty good. Like that. Okay. So now that you did that, you're going to want to use a tool called Move Tool. And basically, you also want to take dynamic perspective off. You're going to want to round this out now. To sort of make it a rounder rock. It's kind of square. So you're going to want to get the Move tool and sort of move each face up a little bit so it makes it a little rounder. You want to get the right size brush. There we go. You don't have to move it too far up, but just enough so that it starts to look round. And you want to do this for all the faces. Just move it up slightly. I kind of did it too much there. And it starts to become a little bit more round, which is what we want for a boulder or a rock. Okay. So looks way better now that it's round. Just look around to see if there's any spots that need to be fixed or that need to be rounded a bit more. So I think that should be pretty good. This side's a little weird, but it's fine. Okay, and then you're going to want to get something called trim dynamic. So basically, you want to maybe go to about maybe like 70. And what this does, you can also you can maybe divide this up a little bit more to get some more detail. But basically, you're going to use this to rough up the edges a little bit, like that. Any sharp edges, you can sort of rough it up like that. Makes it look a little bit rough, like so. And then you can also turn up the brush size and use this to create a little rock, sort of rough rock texture on the faces. So if you go over the faces with a larger size version of this brush, you can give it a little bit of like a noisy effect on the faces to make it look a little bit rougher, like so. So that it's not smooth all the way around, doesn't look as natural that way. So you can sort of give it some texture. It also expands the face. So if the face is too small, you can use this to push out the edges of the face a bit more. You could go around and give it some texture. Like so. I'll make it a bit smaller for these faces. So I'm going to go in and rough up the corners again. Maybe a little bit bigger than that. You don't have to do it to all the corners, but you can sort of do it at random to make it look a bit more natural. You can also do it to the edges if you like. Rough up the edges a bit. See, it's starting to take shape a little bit. You can also, if you want some chips or some sort of like damage to your boulder, you can use the trim lasso. And basically, if you do Control Shift, it gives you a lasso tool that can cut through your model. So like so. You can create some chip damage by using the trim lasso, creating a sort of V shape on the edges, can cut into the edges to make it look a bit more rough and natural, like so. You could do it to any edge you see fit. But yeah, using the trim lasso and the trim dynamic, you can sort of mess around and create any sort of boulder you'd like. Just by combining these tools, you can make anything you want, really. Just mess around with it. But yeah, there's our rock. Looks pretty good. I could mess around with it all day and make it look even better, but you know, you get the idea. Just mess around with it until it's what you like. But the trim dynamic really helps rough up the edges and make it look even better. Looks pretty good. Also, if the faces are too noisy and there's like too much going on, you can always smooth them out and sort of reduce the effect that the trim dynamic brush sort of creates. Sometimes it's a little too much, so you could just smooth it out. It makes it look a little bit better. But that effect makes it look good. So I wouldn't smooth it out too much so you can't see it, but yeah, there's the boulder.